Good morning, Hornets. We are excited to see you at our first day of our IB summer curriculum planning. We are excited that all of you have decided to spend some time with us because this is a very important planning time for us to get ready for our students to come back. So I'm here with Ms. Lynch, and we are going to walk you through as quickly as possible our day one activities. We want to be thorough, but also brief so that you can get started with the important work that you have to do. So if you'll stand by just one moment, I'm going to share my screen. All right, so once again, we want to welcome you to the IB Summer Curriculum Development Planning that we have going on. And we're excited that all of you are here. We're going to start just by making sure that we set some real clear goals and introductions for you today. So to start with, we want to make sure that for this planning session, one of the big focus for us is going to be cohesion. Cohesion is the sticking together of particles of the same substance. We really want to make sure that as we move into next school year, that our IB unit plans are cohesive, that each of the parts are complementary and supportive of the other. So it's very important that we continue to think about that word cohesion. And as we are looking at our slides today, you're going to see that more than one time, just as a reminder of the importance of everything that we're doing needs to work together. So for our introduction today, through ongoing reflection, we have a couple goals. Through ongoing reflection and upgrades to our unit, we are going to increase cohesiveness and create life-lasting learning experience for students. And this is very important because we do want our students to walk away from their middle school experience having had an experience that is going to catapult their success or their career as high school students. So it's extremely important that what we do sticks with them, and the only way we can do that is through relevance. So the next goal is that our students are going to engage in real life application of skills, solving real world problems in real time. And fortunately or unfortunately, we have a lot to work with right now with things that are happening in our society, environmental and otherwise. So we have many opportunities to make sure that our students have real life experience and that they can work towards solving problems in real time. And then the last thing, which we'll continue to remind you of, our IB unit planning components are the cohesive device. They are the thing that sticks it all together. So we've got to make sure that we are intentional about how we emphasize and illuminate those connections for students in our classes.
So at this point, we want to take time to look at the syllabus, and it is available for you on the Canvas course. Some things to know about the syllabus before we go to the Canvas course is that it does include the timeline and the expectations for your team. It is very important that your PLCs work together and complete these tasks and visit and revise. Hopefully none of you are starting from scratch, except for the new curriculum adopters. You are starting from scratch, but everybody else, it should be a revision and a reflection time for you at this point. So please plan as you move through and look at the syllabus to collaborate and work independently. You need to organize and set some goals as you reflect forward of what you're going to do over these 5 days. And again, the whole cohesion, make sure that it's in your unit plans, even thinking interdisciplinary. And please make sure that also be aware that the new course adopters do have a little bit of a differentiated course that they're going to be going through so that they have time to deep dive into their new curriculum. So we're going to share the screen with you to show you that syllabus and where it is available. So you will see at the beginning of the course, it does say new curriculum adoptees. This first module is only for 7th and 8th grade language and literature and 7th grade math. The rest of you will start down with the second part. It says the introduction to summer 2020, and the syllabus is the second link there. And we're going to click on that for you to see. And it is broken down for you by days. Please notice the elective content teachers looks a little different than the core content teachers who are not adopting new curriculum. And then at the very bottom of this timeline, you'll see that the core curriculum adopters that are new have a different timeline as well, because their first day today is just paced out a little bit differently. So you can tell by day it's stepped out for you, and there are specific tasks that needs to be completed each day, which Ms. Perry will go into more detail on.
The next thing that we are going to discuss are going to be the checklist. So I'm going to go back and access the checklist for you. So as Ms. Lynch mentioned just a moment ago, this is our introduction module. So many of the things that you need for the introduction are going to be housed in this compartment. So if you'll come here for anything that you need to kind of get you started, that would be great. But as you can see listed here, you've got multiple task completion documentation files, I will call them, or pages. You've got one for core PLCs, one for electives, one for 7th grade language and literature and L task completion, and one for 7th grade math. And that is different because of the difference in the course. So I'm going to open up just our core task completion document, which is mainly for our people who are not adopting new curriculum and are not elective teachers. So as you can see, this document is going to allow you to move through the steps that we are completing for stages 1 through 4, which are going to be our goals for this session, this summer session. And it will allow you to make notes and comments on how successful you've been on the completion of each of the stages. So this is for your reference, and we would love for you to use it, but it is also for you only. This will not be submitted to us as an assignment. It is just to keep you reminded of what are the tasks that are required to me as I move through each of the stages. This can keep you and your PLC on task as you continue to work through the stages, because as you know, the majority of our work this summer is going to be on a virtual platform. So we will not be face to face with you as often as we were used to being.
So each module is laid out the exact same way in order to make it easier to navigate through this course. You'll notice that there are prerequisites or an introduction that are given to you from the beginning of the module. If you look at the timeline or syllabus that we showed you, each module is given a certain amount of time. So for example, module 1 and 2 is going to be done today. 3 has extra time with it because it's the learning experiences. And then 4 also has a little extra time with it because it is the rubrics and the standards alignment. Resources and scaffolding of the tasks have been provided. There's a whole resources separate component, as Ms. Perry called it, in the course itself, for you to go when you need extra help or need to remember the definition of a key concept. And every module will have an assignment that does need to be submitted. Sometimes it's a Google form or Google task that you'll submit. Sometimes it is set up to be that you have to copy and paste a link and submit it to us, but each one specifically tells you what that assignment is going to look like. Ms. Perry is going to toggle back to that screen and just show you. So if you go to the main modules, again, here you see module 1, notice that it's in the order that it needs to be completed. So once you open those, it will then give you the opportunity to just click next to go through each task. You will not have to go back to this screen to start over every time. Okay, and all the modules are set up the same way. So in the module 1 task, you then get the directions off the get-go from the introduction sheet of what steps need to be completed for that entire module. And when you click next, it moves you to the first task, which in this particular module is a video. And then after you view the video and there is some work that needs to be done there as far as what you reflect on, and you'll see that in your directions on the first page. Click next. This gives you the sheet that you need to refer to for the definitions and so forth, because in stage 1, you're going to be working with the, just revising your stage 1 of the unit plan where you're setting up your inquiry. So these are helpful hints as you're going to move through, remembering what each of those components of stage 1 stands for. So this will just be for review, nothing to submit. And then here you will actually get to the task itself with the directions of what you need to do. And we are in edit mode instead of student mode. When you get to that task, it is going to give you a submit button, just so that you're aware. We are not in the student view mode since we are the teachers of the course. And then next.
I'm sorry, I came out of it.
Okay. So then after, when you get to that and you submit your assignment, you'll notice that if you click next, it will take you right into module 2, but these are set up with prerequisites. So module 2 will not become available to you until you have submitted the assignment for module 1. And again, since we are not in student view, it does not show that there's a submit button there, but on the screen that you have as the student of the course, you will see submit. When you move to the next module, you will always start with an introduction page. So you see here that we're moving into the assessment part of stage 2, which is module 2. And again, it outlines for you on the very first introduction screen everything that needs to be completed in that course. And as you click next and move through, it moves you through the assignments that need to be completed in order.
Okay. All right. So we're going to talk with you a little bit more just about day 1 and what the tasks are that we will hope to accomplish for day 1. So the first, as Ms. Lynch already mentioned, we are attempting to complete modules 1 and module 2 for this cohort during day 1. And the reason is because we expect that most of your work is just going to be in the revisions. It's not going to be in starting from scratch. So we are expecting that you will have an opportunity to reflect on the work that you've already done and make revisions according to some feedback that we'll give you. So looking at the module 1 side, each PLC, you'll receive an email that includes a link to some feedback for every stage 1 unit plan you've created, or every unit plan stage 1 that you've created. And that feedback is to help you determine where there need to be some upgrades to your stage 1 of your unit plan. If you see a yes, then that is complete. We are asking that you don't bother that section. However, if your PLC wants to start and do something different, that's okay. But really the only places that you are looking for to make changes are places where there's an indication that this criteria is not met. So if you see a no, that's where you go to figure out what needs to be revised so that you can move or upgrade your unit plan, your stage 1 of the unit plan to better. So you're going to review the feedback, which will be a checklist we'll send you that'll say yes or no with a little bit some notes. If it says no, you'll know why. And you're going to watch the video. The video just reiterates the focus for creating stage 1, setting up your inquiry. And that's what this is all about. We're going to then ask that you adjust and upgrade stage 1. And if you'll notice, we're going to ask that you do that through first semester. And if you haven't seen the newest calendar, first semester is going to end in December before we go home for the holidays. So we're going to ask you to complete what you need to for first semester for stage 1s. And then on the feedback form that we'll send you, there will be a space for you to note revisions that are based on the feedback form that you receive. So that'll be the work for module 1. Upgrade your stage 1s and send us those revisions according to the feedback. For module 2, we're digging further into the actual summative assessment. So each PLC is going to complete a self-assessment of each stage 2 for their units, and that's going to be at least through the first semester once again. The celebration on that is that most of you already have your grasp. It's really strong. So even if it's in the table format, we can easily see what your components are, the GRASP. Even if it's not in a table format, it's fairly easy for us to find what the grasp is. So that is a celebration. We want you to examine the example summative that we're going to share with you through the module, and then evaluate your own summative assessment at least through first semester. And based on that, and there will be an assignment in there for you to complete in regards to your evaluation, and we're going to ask you to submit that assignment, which tells us that you've done a thorough job of assessing or evaluating your summative assessments.
Because Module 2 is a little bit more in-depth than what Module 1 is, since we're providing you the feedback already and it's specific to where you need to make the revisions, we want to show you the example of what one looks like that we went ahead and did the annotation on, but we also want to make sure that we mention these general things that we found on all of the summatives that we looked through prior to starting this course. As Ms. Perry already said, the grasp are pretty good. You just have to check and make sure that you have all of the components there and that they can be labeled out, and you'll see it on the task sheet you're going to do. However, there are things that seem to be generally missing from most of the summative assessment student task sheets that we reviewed. Timelines are generally missing. How long do the students have to do this, and what should they be completing day 1, day 2, day 3 to help them pace? A list of resources are generally missing, links that they can use so that they're not using those Google searches and those kinds of things. A really good place for you to start using Ms. Barnes, even more so than some of you do, in order to have her put those together for you and just add them to your task sheet. And then the last thing is the steps. The steps need to be listed as steps. You'll notice on the one we're going to look at, it's actually listed as requirements instead of steps. We want the name the steps process to be used here so that students are able to literally go first, second, third, fourth, so that they have a better opportunity for completion, so that directions or following directions is not what hurts their score when we go to actually assess these and give feedback. You don't want the directions to be the cause of them not doing well on showing you the mastery of the skills. So we're going to look real quick at the example that we have already annotated for you, which you have access to in the course as well. And then we'll also look at the sheet as to where we got this from. So you'll notice that we used one of the science summatives, and this one did not use the chart, which is perfectly fine. They did it as in a paragraph, and we have highlighted the GRASP in different colors to note where those are. As you scroll down, you see that they have some specifics. This one is a 3-part assessment they do, so we only looked at part 1. But here, part 1, instead of having steps of what to do first, second, third, it's the requirements that this part of the assessment needs to include. Instead, what we would like to see here is those named out in steps of first do, second do, third do, with detail of, again, the directions, so that directions do not cause students to miss giving information they need to give in order to score a higher score on the rubric. If we'll scroll down just a little bit further, Ms. Perry, you'll note here that we did note on here, like we've mentioned before, it doesn't give them a timeline of how many days they're going to have to do this, and it also does not provide them any resources to use on the actual task sheet. We know that those may have been provided in the lessons that were done along with this, but they do need to be included on the student task sheet. And for us to make those annotations, you're going to have the following document to look at and help you go through. And this is what you will actually submit to us. You will not submit the student task sheet. You will submit the chart that we're getting ready to show you.
Hang on. I was going to mention that it's going to require you to make a copy. Just go ahead and do that, and it's taking a little time for mine to open.
Okay, so you'll see that there's a part A through E on this self-assessment, and this is something that you should be fairly familiar with if you've been at ARMS with us. Here you're going to just list out where your GRASP components are in your introduction. If you see something as you go through each part of these that is missing from your student task sheet, we do want you to edit the student task sheet to make sure that you go back and put it in. So if you go through the GRASP and you're missing an R, please note it here, but then go back and sit on the student task sheet. Then step 2 here, or part B, is a reflection of your GRASP, making sure it works with the IB requirements of what a GRASP is supposed to do, some questions to answer. Part C will be analyzing your steps. Just like we did on our feedback form for stage 1, if your PLC reflects or analyzes here and realizes you have a no, the no will be documented, but please go back and make the revision for that no so that it becomes a yes on your student task sheet. Again, you're going to be submitting this sheet as the assignment, but the task sheet needs to be updated as you go. Part D is reflecting on those steps and making sure the purpose is there. And then part E gives you an opportunity to identify the approaches to learning that students will need to experience in the unit itself before they get to the summative, so that they are successful on the summative by already having those skills. So that'll be the last piece of this that you will identify on this chart.
All right, we've already kind of made some suggestions throughout this video thus far, but we do want to continue to remind you that our goal and our focus is going to be on making a cohesive learning experience for our students throughout the entire unit. So some things that we are asking that you do is please work interdependently. Please push one another to achieve cohesion, and please push yourselves to make this a real world inquiry. We are asking that you do not isolate the work. So please do not divvy up the task. Wow, you go do this and you go do this and you do this. And we've had no conversation about what our vision is for how our units look. And we come back with things that wind us up being even more disjointed than they were before, or that have not achieved the greatest cohesion that we possibly can as we work together.
So today, our schedule is going to look just a little bit different depending on what subject area you are working with. This schedule that you see on this screen is for our adopters. Again, that's going to be 7th and 8th grade language and literature, our L teachers, and our 7th grade math teachers that are participating with us. You're going to be, or should already be, more than likely, since you're watching this after, you will have attended a live session with Miss Perry and I as your introduction from 9 to 10. Office hours, as you see it on here, are when Miss Perry and I will be available on the Zoom link that you see at the bottom for you to come online with us and ask questions as you get stuck. However, you will have to text either one of us, not both of us, to let us know we need a few minutes with you. That way you make sure that we are, 1, in front of the computer, which we're going to stay that way, but 2, not on with another PLC where we need to ask you to wait 5 minutes before you come on to talk to us as well. So before you click the Zoom link, we do want you to text us to let us know we would like a few minutes with you live. Okay, adopters, we're going to check in at 11, and that's because what you're doing this morning is doing specifically with your Open Up or Learnzillion curriculum, and it has a different task that goes with it. So 2 times for office check-in or office hour check-ins today, and you have 2 live sessions to attend as well. And again, that Zoom link is down there at the bottom. It will be used all week long for any time that we have office hours available. And we'll continue to put it on the slide so that you can find it easily. Those of you that are not new curriculum adopters, so all of the elective teachers and the other subject areas, you are working on your own this morning, watching this recorded session and starting with the day 1 tasks. Again, you have times available with Miss Perry and I. If you have questions, just please text us first, and then we'll let you into the Zoom link. And everybody will check in with us or check out with us this afternoon as we kind of wrap up. We need to see the work that was done, or figure out with you where the work is done, because you will notice the course is set up so that each module is a prerequisite. It will not allow you to move to module 2 until you have completed the assignment for module 1, because the IB unit plans, as you know, are the backwards planning model, and you have to complete each step in order for you to successfully build the unit, to build the inquiry. So that's why it is set up.
All right, so we want to thank you for your time today. We wish you much success as you continue to move about the modules and complete your best IB units yet. We're excited about that, and excited about the opportunity that we all get to remain at home while we are doing this work. So best of luck to you. Again, if you need us, please text or call. We will jump on the Zoom link with you during those office hours. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Good luck, guys.